Listen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a solo edition for myself of Sorry in Advance. And I figured it's been a hot minute since I have done an episode because the last time that I did an episode, I went on a I don't know how to say it, curse-induced, rage-filled episode where I just lost my mind pretty much because the Phillies were playing like absolute shit. And then they proceeded to split a two-game series, which I believe was 100% pointless. Why would you have a two-game series against a division rival? But that's just me. They split my mom was on there. So my mom is here actually over. Well, this is backwards. So that way. And she wanted to see the behind the scenes look of how I do shows. So she's basically sitting in my laundry room with me. But yeah, last time I went on a rant-filled, vulgar speech. I don't even know how to say it, but I bad language-induced episode. And then the Phillies actually started doing good, but now they've gone back to shit. So I feel like I needed to come back on, and now with my mother here to listen to everything that I have to say, the pressure's on. So I have to be a good son. Hey Donna, how are you? I know it's been. I know my mom's just like, no, you don't. By the way, all the language that I probably learned from my mom. Donna says hi.
Hi.
Hello. So here's what we're gonna get into. This is mainly about the Brave series, which I know we went. We won one game out of the three. It wasn't even like a game that I can be like, oh man, thank God we won. Everyone was 100% ready for them to lose that game. There is not a doubt that anybody who toward the ninth inning or in the ninth inning, especially with Whit Merrifield coming up, I was like, here it is. He already had a triple, a single, and a double, and I was just waiting. In the first two games, excuse me, had all that, and I was waiting for him to hit the cycle for the series to win the game because Whit Merrifield apparently turned into. I'm trying to think of a second baseman that was the greatest ever. Ryan Sandberg? Yeah, pretty good. A Hall of Fame. It was just the perfect revenge story because Whit Merrifield, even after his first game, when they interviewed him after, and he was just like, I'd be lying if I didn't say it felt a little good to go against a team and perform that well against a team that said, we don't think you're good enough to play for us. Which in his video interview compared to the written interview, because the media is just the all-out devil. In the written interview, they left out the part where Whit Merrifield said, I was not actually playing that well in Philadelphia. But in his video one, he said, to be honest, yeah, I wasn't playing good over there. So the written media left that part out to where he actually acknowledged that he sucked here. And it sucked because I liked Whit Merrifield. I wanted them to sign him for years when he was with Kansas City. I would love to have him because Kansas City sucked for all these years. And of course, now they're good and he's not there. But anyway, so as soon as he signed with the Braves, I'm like, here we go. Braves World Series. But anyway, so Whit Merrifield in the first game of the series, I mean, he had one hit, but still it was the triple to like the Braves are batting him second. If that doesn't tell you something about the Braves, like the Braves have a way of finding a way to get things done. Like they are, if I remember correctly, only 6 games out behind us. And the whole reason I wanted to do this episode was if you look at our schedule compared to the Braves in the next week leading up to next Sunday, there is a extreme chance we are not first place in the division by next Sunday. We have to play the Royals for 3 games, who I'm excited because I get to see Bobby Witt Jr. I never knew I could be more excited to see another team play against my team, but I get to see Bobby Witt Jr. I get to see Brady Singer pitch tomorrow, which is cool. I get to see Seth Lugo pitch, which it makes no sense how he is 14-7 this year. But more for his last name, because I don't know if there's any Spartacus fans out there from the Stars show, but me and my brother have a thing with like this character named Lugo because it's like He spoke in the third person. And you could tell the dude was just on steroids, completely unrelated to anything except the last name. But anyway, so we have Taiwan Walker going on the mound tonight against Michael Waka Waka. And I feel like everyone is kind of just chalking that up to as a loss because Walker's on the mound. I mean, I don't. I said it his first game back when he gave up like 3-4 runs to a double-A team, his one rehab appearance. I'm like, okay, he was coming back to face the Marlins, who was pretty much a double-A team, and he got hit around there. So this is one where I think I actually don't know. I wish Spencer Turnbull was healthy so that if Walker was struggling in the first 3 innings, you could bring Turnbull in to eat another 4 innings. They say that Ranger Suarez is supposed to come back tomorrow, so it should be Ranger Suarez against Brady Singer, who I think that'll be interesting. I would love to see Ranger Suarez go back to obviously Ranger Suarez pre the Colorado Rockies series a month ago, over a month ago. And then the Phillies said that they're probably going to do a bullpen game on Sunday, which is always fun to watch when the Phillies literally mention bullpen game, because I get flashbacks of a goddamn World Series game where we threw a bullpen game. You really meant, well, hey, I'll take you're that's fine. You can message while you're right next to me. That's fine. Oh, I missed a message from Donna. Good. I'm in upstate New York visiting friends. I have only been to the furthest upstate New York I've been to is like Auburn for my work. And I drank for like 2 days. Anyway, so yeah, it's Kansas City. I would have loved to face Kansas City now if it was 2 years ago. Now I'm like, well, I could fully, with the way that the Phillies are playing, picture a 3-game sweep. But here's what's going to happen. Watch. Taiwan Walker will suck, but the Phillies will score 7 runs against Michael Wacha. They'll lose to Brady Singer, and then during the bullpen game, we'll win 15-3. I mean, it's such a Philly thing to happen. It's just aggravating to watch. Walker? Oh yeah, Walker throw a no-hitter tonight. Some shit like that. But the Phillies we'll lose like 1-0. He'll walk a run in. It's like such a ridiculous thing to say, but I'm not wrong. I think and I'm not even trying to be that guy. I'm not wrong. Like I've talked to so many people today on Facebook and the Phillies fan group, which shout out to the Phillies fan group and Jackie and Mike and everybody. Where it's just yesterday. Well, here, let's get back into the first game. The Phillies lost 3-1. All these games were extremely close. And I feel like there were so many times that the Braves and Phillies had opportunities to score. I mean, you would never know that the Braves only had 7 hits in the first game, and we had 5. But again, we struck out 13 times against Ronaldo Lopez, which I'll take the blame for that one. I bet that the Phillies would not win, but at least keep it. I don't even know what the hell my bet was. I blacked out. Like I don't even care. I blacked out literally that game because it pissed me off so bad that I'm like, they just looked atrocious. It was literally Ronaldo Lopez's first game back, and it's not even. You can't even use the word he didn't miss a beat. He controlled the beat. I just like he turned the beat around. There it is. That's a good one. He turned the beat around. The rhythm was going to get him, and it got him. And then at the same time, the Braves struck out 12 times. And then in game 2, again, Whit Merrifield had 1 hit, but the Phillies had 5 hits again against oh my God, who the hell started? Fried. Which Fried can be a good pitcher, except in the playoffs, where we own the Braves, but you have to get there first. So I'm not trying to be that type. Like I always have in the back of my mind where it's just like, oh, like it's not going to matter if we face the Braves in the playoffs. We just own them. Well, now I'm at the point where like, man, who are we going to play in the playoffs? Are we going to make the playoffs? Like, there's so many teams fighting for a playoff spot that really could come up out of nowhere. I mean, I think I'm trying to give the Mets a huh? The Mets.
That's what I said.
I mean, the Mets are literally right up the Braves' ass and have been playing good. And traded like they traded what? And they're eating like $80 million in pitching with Verlander and Scherzer. And there was a report the other day that like the Rangers might not even make the playoffs at all, which was interesting. And I'm like, no, sounds like us. And so like it's just again, not to jump all over the place, but you have to concentrate on a few people. Like Harper, first game, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Turner, 0 for 4, no strikeouts. Schwarber, 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Game 2, Schwarber, 1 for 4 with an RBI, but a strikeout. Turner, 0 for 3 with an RBI with a strikeout. Harper, 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Game 3, Schwarber, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts in his other 2 at-bats. Turner, no hits, but scored a run on a fielder's choice. And Harper had a hit in the first inning and then struck out 2 more times. Castellanos struck out twice. And the one that pissed me off the most was the end of the game when Castellanos struck out. It gets to a point with this team where this is my main point of the whole entire podcast, and I'm getting to it at 11 minutes and 55 seconds in, is the fact that it seems like once it's like the 8th inning and the Phillies are down, that's it. It is the exact opposite of the 08 team when you had a lead. Like, if the 08 team had a lead in the 6th inning and the bullpen was coming in, I could shut the TV off and know we were going to win. This, we could have a 6-run lead in the 8th, and I'm still not sure we're going to win. But it just seems like there's really not a lot of fight in this team at all. It like the swings, the plate discipline, which side topic, all the hate that Rob Thompson doesn't, by the way, have a fucking P in his name. For the love of God, people, know who your coach is. Anyway, for the amount of hate that Rob Thompson gets, it's ridiculous. Rob Thompson makes the lineup, and I think that's it. I mean, he's the head coach. He's the manager. Kevin Long is the hitting coach. Caleb Cotham is the pitching coach. Now, granted, I'm just saying they are coaches. They're not out there. I mean, I busted a lot of people's balls when I'm just like, oh, what's Rob Thompson's ERA? What's his batting average? How many home runs does he have? What's all their, like, they can only do so much. It all has to come down to the players. But if that is the case, what the hell do you have coaches for? Like, I just feel like everyone is blaming Rob Thompson. He doesn't change the lineup. He doesn't do this. He doesn't pull people at the right time. Why is he playing Ryo? Why? We could come up with 1,001 reasons on why Rob Thompson is the issue, but nobody wants to blame the players or the hitting coach or the pitching coaches. I can't blame the pitching coaches for the starters, but the bullpen's been fucking atrocious lately. I'm at a point where my friends Jay and Drew, we were talking, where it's just like, do you consider sending Alvarado down again to AAA to kind of figure it out? I don't know what it is. I'm starting to believe you didn't really need to trade for Estevez. You could have left Hoffman as the closer. And because he's not doing anything different or improving us. I mean, the whole bullpen still kind of sucks right now. And then as for like, I mean, it sucks that Austin Hayes is hurt. Like I was a fan of that trade, especially because, you know, we were getting rid of Dominguez, who was struggling. We were getting rid of Soto, who was struggling, which apparently Sir Anthony Dominguez really picked it up and has been a friggin' stud. But then I saw the last 2 games that they pitched. Him and Kimbrel both blew a game, so it's fine. We're back to normal here. But still, it's just, at what point do the coaches have to come in and tell the players to have a better plate approach? Like, I'm back to 100% saying that there is not one person on this team besides Kyle Schwarber, the first step out of the game, who should be swinging first pitch ever. No one can read a pitch. There's no plate approach. And then I think the other thing that really baffles me is, I remember in Little League when I was like 7, if you had 2 strikes on you and a ball was anywhere near the plate, try and make contact and fight off the pitch. Instead, in the major leagues now, it seems like if there's a ball that is right down the middle or close to the plate, just stare at it and then turn around and argue with the umpire. And I'm kind of just like, well, what happened to Little League or from Little League to the majors where he's only throwing you fastballs down the middle? Or like, I mean, my main example is last night. Like Castellanos, we were. By the way, we were all immediately down like 2 strikes in the last inning. Um, the guy's best pitch apparently was his changeup because John Smoltz talked about it like he was masturbating to it, and he didn't throw. I think if he threw one, he only threw one. If he threw any, um, and I just feel like there's no reason to throw anything close to the plate with us. You don't need to throw anything close to the plate for Trey Turner ever. There's no reason to throw anything inside or down the middle. If you throw it outside, he's going to swing. um, and my mom's right on point. They're swinging at shit. I mean, I think something's up with Harper. I'm not saying injury. I mean, but I don't want to say I hope for it, but I would hope that is something that he's just fighting through, and that's the reason. Because I mean, they've just been atrocious. I mean, like everyone was saying Harper's having an MVP year, and Harper's now he's hitting 273, which is fine, but it's not even close. it's there's no one on this team having an MVP year. The only person I consider for an award right now is Zach Wheeler fighting for a Cy Young. But Schwarber is definitely gone cold. Turner is cold. Harper's cold. Castellanos has been the only really bright side. Ironically, who the fuck thought we'd really say that at all this year? Bryson Stott has been just misery. JT Realmuto's back. So I'll give him time to figure it out. And the other person, honestly, when Austin Hayes comes back, I would 100% consider sending Marsh down to go figure out his stuff too. I'm not saying keep him down. Go down, figure your shit out. And because right now, Weston Wilson, there is zero reason to send him down. Don't ever play him at third base again. Keep him in the outfield. But there's zero reason. Sorry, there's like a something bug. There's zero reason to send him back down. If he's in pain, that needs to be. I agree. The only thing I'm thinking is that if it's an injury or something and they're worried about it, that it's going to take him out the rest of the year and he can push through it. I think that's it. Is they don't want to lose him for the playoffs, which is, I mean, it's the same thing as why they got Turner or Realmuto fixed now. Is because he would have been back in time. He was only gone for like a month and a half. So I think that's why. I don't know. I would hope that's why. Bohm broke his on base streak, 36 games. Fucking bum. And I mean, I don't understand. I don't know. I feel like pulling someone who's in that much of a streak, it makes no sense. Like Castellanos has played every game, has not sat once. Of all the people that should have sat in the beginning of the year, you played him all the time. But everybody else on the team, you're playing all the time, and or excuse me, you've sat. And you sat Bohm yesterday, who Bohm, I mean, he went 0 for 4 the day before, whatever. But he went 2 for 4 the first game with a run. He's still hitting close to 3. He's 295. I think it's that, and the other thing that doesn't make sense to me is Rob Thompson's pinch hitting, lack of pinch hitting, or even pinch running. Like he pinch ran Cal Stevenson for Rojas. Last I heard, Rojas was the fastest person on the team. Especially with Turner's leg. That's what I'm saying. So I don't understand why you pulled Rojas for Cal Stevenson. Unless Cal Stevenson was 20 for 20 against the pitcher that was in with 17 home runs. Like, no. But it just, that didn't make any sense to me. But the lack of pinch hitting late in games wanting to give a full day off to play, like, okay, if you're down 3 runs, 2 runs, whatever, and you're like, I want to give them a full day off. Trust me, the 1-8 bat ain't going to make a friggin' difference. The games aren't going until the 19th inning anymore. So them having to play 3 innings, like, oh my God, now I'm really tired. Like, no, that's a weak excuse for me. But I said this like an episode or two ago. I think one thing I want to see, which just isn't going to happen apparently in today's athlete, is I would like to see them say something to the coach and be like, no, like, put me the hell in. Like, just you say something. Show that you give a shit. And I think that's the biggest thing about this team right now that I'm noticing is it's just like I don't see anger. I don't see frustration. I mean, I don't even see it from my coach. I mean, the Mariners just fired their coach in the middle of August. And they're only 6 games out. Could be wrong. 5.5 games out of first place against the Astros. The next team behind them is 10.5, and that's the Rangers, who just won the World Series last year. I mean, for the wild card race, yes, it's kind of unrealistic. Like right now in the American League, the Mariners are 7.5 games out of the wild card. But when you're closer to taking the division lead against the Astros, and then your team fires your head coach, I mean, that's a GM who's literally, to me, saying, we need to change now. There's still enough time to do it. And everyone get your heads out of your asses and figure it out. I'm not saying fire Rob Thompson. I'm not saying fire Kevin Long or Caleb Contham. I'm simply saying fucking do something. Like, I need to hear, I don't want to hear, oh, like last night's interview with Turner and Thompson enraged me. Because it was like, yeah, I don't know, it's just weird. What the fuck you mean it's weird? Like, there's not one person in the sea that's going to be like, oh man, it's really weird. No. There's plenty of people who are really, really staying positive, like, oh, we'll be all right. And I feel like even those people are just kind of just like, I've been riding on this train for this long. I can't get off now. And then there's other people like me who I even said to Scott, I told him to shut up for like 7 weeks. I'm like, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Well, you're taking me down into the trenches with you. And it's getting old. Because when I sit here and defend you, and I'm like, okay, this is where you could really, right here, technically, if you wanted to put a nail in the coffin, you could have done it this past series by sweeping the Braves. Even taking two out of 3, but scoring more than, let me see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runs in 3 games. Granted, the Braves didn't score a lot either, but their pitching kicked your ass big time. So, I mean, it's not getting any easier. You are going against now the Royals, who are, let me see, if I remember correctly, are 2 games out of first place, tied with the Twins for 2 games out of first place. And then you have the Tigers after them, and then the White Sox, who are 42.5 games out of first place. So they're ready to kill themselves. But I mean, right now, the Royals are in a wild card spot. They're fighting for a wild card spot. And then you have to go against the Astros, who I just talked about, are in first place. And then after that, guess who you have to play again? You have to play the Braves at home for 4 games. And if you think for a minute that anyone is going to cheer for the Phillies after these 2 series coming up leading up to the Braves, if they don't perform, you should just be grateful people are going to be in the stands. You are going to get booed mercilessly. Mercilessly. And I can't think of another word worse than mercilessly, because they're going to lay into you. And I know how it's going to work out. Taijuan Walker's going to have to start one of those games. It's probably going to be a day game too. It's probably going to be the day game on Sunday, just to torture the fans just a little bit more. Oh, here. Okay, we're lucky. The Sunday night game is on ESPN at 7:10. So there's twice the torture if you have to watch Taijuan Walker and listen to ESPN. So, reminds me a little Big League when the guy was playing through. Oh, yeah. Good movie, by the way. They're following Thompson's way, and it's not working. And We always show up when the teams are doing well and shit. It's wait, Scott needs to talk crap. I know. Where's Scott? Hold on. I know. He's in North Carolina on vacation. Doesn't mean he doesn't have a phone. Lazy ass. It's not like he can walk right now. Sorry, that was mean. He can walk. He's fine. Anyway, so I wanted to go on another rant because last time it worked pretty well. So we'll see. But right now, let's see. Like I said, the Phillies are playing the Royals and then have to go home to the Astros. I think my prediction for the next 6 games, I'll try and pull a Scott Pizzo and say the Phillies are going to go 2-4. Much to people's disappointment. I think the worst part is that, like, it's not unrealistic. It really isn't. So I apologize that it's not even being negative. I'm being realistic. I mean, because that's the thing too, is Verlander's back for the Astros. We're probably gonna there's no one listed yet for any of us. And especially if they're saying that, like, Walker's pitching today, Suarez most likely pitching tomorrow, then there's a bullpen game. So you're most likely getting Wheeler first game of the Astros series than Nola. So they're going to throw everything they have out there. But I don't know. I don't even know whether to say the worst part is like, say they sweep the Royals. This team has been so up and down. It's like, does it give you any, like, renewed confidence at all? It's like you have to see how they beat the team. If they absolutely beat the living shit out of a team, like them and the Astros consistently, and everything is firing, it's like, okay. But then again, it's just like, oh, we always perform good against the good teams. The Braves were pretty much a depleted team. They picked up Gio Urshela, who is a good glove, but turned into friggin' Mike Schmidt at third base, turned like 700 double plays in our series with Whit Merrifield. So anyway, that was all I had tonight. The Phillies start in like 3 minutes. So, Donna and Mom, thank you for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed it behind the scenes. It was a blast. Donna, enjoy New York. I hope you have a good night. And for the love of Christ, go Phils.